What's up, everybody? Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time I am joined by the one and the only Coach Marc Komlanc from the Warren JFK boys basketball team. Coach, what's up, man? How we doing?
Just getting ready for the holidays and the tip off of the season. I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. I always like talking a little bit of high school hoops with you, sir, and I'm excited for what you're going to be able to do this season too, because I feel like there's a lot of potential for this team and a lot of guys that are going to have to step up into some new roles. I know. Talk to me about what this roster looks like. Who are going to be some of the leaders you're going to point to this year?
I think the focal point immediately is drawn to Henry Phillips and Preston Girasitano. They both were starters on the team last year, and they're really the only two that we have with very much varsity experience. So obviously they're going to be the focal points of most teams, and the focal point for us as well, because they're going to kind of set the tone for us offensively and defensively. But we have four seniors. I think along with those two, we have Anthony Georgalis, actually five seniors, Anthony Georgalis, Andrew LaPaula, and Santino Esposito. Those five are going to be integral pieces. They've been within the program for a long time. They understand the standards, expectations. And mixed in with them is going to be Trevin Rink, Andrew Totten, Joey Georgalis. And then we got some younger guys and some new guys that we're trying to figure out how they fit in. And if they don't fit in this year, the future for them is very bright. But the expectations remain the same. Our guys understand that. But probably the biggest key for us this year is finding guys that are going to kind of take on the Christian Swagger role, or the Dom Ryan and Matt Wagner and Quinn Miola roles, like the guys who do everything well and the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheets. And if they can buy into that and accept those roles, we will be much better off. Like, that's surprisingly probably the biggest thing we're missing right now is we don't have those defined roles of guys who are just dominant defenders or great rebounders or just Nico Seminaro setting up the offense and getting guys open. So we're trying to piece those things together, and we kind of got a bunch of guys who are pretty solid, but we got to figure out what their definite roles are.
How do you, as a coach, try to kind of help encourage the leadership from maybe the voices that aren't used to being in those roles yet, or aren't always used to being the loudest voice in the room? How do you encourage the leadership from those guys year to year?
Well, it changes obviously with the personality of the kids. Some kids are a little bit more vocal and ready to step into that role, even if they haven't been vocal, and others are just lead by example. Some of the guys I mentioned before, like Quinn Miola, Christian Swagger, Matt Wagner, Dom Ryan, those were guys who kind of like led by example, didn't say a whole lot. But then you had like Michael Condolian, Nico Seminaro, Nick Ryan. They were a little bit more vocal, and I think Henry and Preston are probably going to be more of our vocal leaders. But those other seniors, they've had a voice in practice. And actually maybe a little bit more than I was expecting, which is a good thing. But you kind of got to fill out who they are and what their personalities are and not overstretch them. While I want to get them out of their comfort zone, I don't necessarily want to make them do things that they're not comfortable with as far as leadership goes. But they are all great individuals, and however they decide is right for them is usually the best way to go. And our guys look up and want to emulate them.
How do you, as a coach, determine growth in players beyond the box score, beyond the stat sheet too, when their time with you, in their time with you too? How are you determining how a player is growing outside of what numbers tell us?
Well, I mean, that's a very good question, and because if numbers aren't there, it's really hard for kids to recognize. And I think a big part of coaching is recognizing those plays in the moment. Whether it's practice or a game, if someone does something really, really good that that's not going to show up in the stat sheet, you point it out. Like sometimes it's making a pass that's going to lead to the next pass. And if you don't make that first pass, you're not getting the score. Yeah. So we really try and focus on those plays, on the plays of getting on the floor or getting a deflection. Maybe you don't get to steal, but you were in help that took away the first pass and they throw a skip and we get a steal because of it. or just a really good box out that leads to someone else getting the rebound. So we try and make sure that we focus on those plays when they happen and let the kids know how important they are. Because otherwise, if you're just basing it on the box score, you're never going to see those things. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. But also at the same time, they have access to film. They can go back and watch some of those guys that came before them that played, 24, 25, 26 minutes and didn't score a ton of points, but they just did all those little things. And we can bring up that film and say, let's watch Quinn Miola. Let's watch Matt Wagner. Let's watch Christian Schwager. What were the things that they're doing on the floor that's keeping them out there and having a positive impact on the team? And also with that is the next play mentality, which is a very difficult thing. We talked about it yesterday. Like, I know that they're here because they care about it. They don't need to show that to me by getting upset when they miss a shot, or if they are out of place on defense or miss a rebound. Like, I understand that they want it more than anybody else. That's why they're here, but they have to not let that compound the next play and then the play after that. So it's always like, you got to have a short-term memory, but at the same time, you got to learn from it. So we have a lot of different ways that we go about it, but I think in the moment, you have to make sure that you are showing that there's value in those plays so that the younger kids recognize it. And also they deserve recognition in the moment when those things happen, because otherwise, like you said, it doesn't show up in the stat sheet. But it's something that we really put a focus and an emphasis on.
I know you talk about it all the time, adapting with the personnel. You got to adapt with the times too, as there's always new things coming out, I think, in the sport too. You got to look at it, see if it fits you or not. But what is that like one culture thing, and what is that one value you kind of refuse to compromise on as a coach that has stayed consistent throughout your teams?
We have really high standards. I don't know that I could say that there's one constant or one consistent thing that we would focus on. Our standards are really high across the board, and we don't want to ever lower those things. And actually, we probably try and raise the bar on everything each year. So to pinpoint one specific thing, I guess intensity. If your intensity is high at all times, good things are going to happen. Bad things can happen as well, but for the most part, intensity makes up for a lot of deficiencies. So if I had to pinpoint one specific thing about our program that is really, really important within the basketball realm, it's probably intensity.
So you've been around the game a long time. You've coached some good teams. You've coached some great teams. You've played against plenty of both of those. What do you think is what separates the good teams from the great teams, in your opinion?
Commitment outside of the season is obviously there's no way that you become great by just working in season. And there's no way you become great by just working when everybody else is, to be completely honest, because we've had some really, really good teams bordering on great that always went above and beyond. If you're showing up in the off season and you're putting in work with the team, that's great. And then in season, you're doing that's great. You're going to be a good team, bordering on great. But the great teams, I think what separates them is that they go above and beyond it. So you don't like stuff that I wouldn't even see. I wouldn't even be a part of. Are they going to get strength and agility training outside of the basketball team? Are they going to a gym to shoot? Are they going to other schools' open gyms to get runs in against better competition or more competition or different competition? So beyond just doing what is expected in season, you obviously have to be committed in the off season and show up. That's a big part of our program. We go 5 days, 6 days a week in the summer for 90 minutes to 180 minutes. And our best seasons have been when we have the best attendance during that time. But when we've gone over the top, it's because I know we have kids that are going even beyond what we're doing and what we're doing as a team in the off season. So I think that's the difference between an average team, a good team, and a team that is bordering on great and great.
Well, you talk about some great teams too, and I feel like you guys scheduled quite a few this season. I know the schedule looks a little bit different than in years prior too, but you guys really bolstered it up. Highlight some of these games on this year's schedule that you think are really going to test your guys and get that iron sharpened before the tournament rolls around.
Well, I feel like I say it every year, but I don't want to be a broken record. But honestly, this may be our toughest schedule to date. It just is the way it works out. I think this year we added Harding. We still have Hoban, we have Mooney, we have Canton Central Catholic, Lutheran West, Canfield. We got McDonald on the schedule, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Bristol. There's, to be honest, when we look at our schedule, I think every team we play this year, I believe, is probably going to have a winning record, or has a really good chance of having not just a winning record, but a really good record and an opportunity to go to cut down nets in March, which is a battle for us, obviously. But to pinpoint, I guess the highlight games for us would be, we're starting to see the season with Gilmore Academy, which we usually end the season with. We added Massillon Perry, who Division II state runner-up last year. So those are two new additions along with Harding, which I think we kind of bookend the season. We start really hard and then we end really hard. Maybe not ideal, but it's definitely, we always talk about it being a life cycle, and the end goal is, what are you going to be doing at the end of February, beginning of March? Are you going to be peaking at the right time? And we're definitely setting ourselves up to see the best competition that we possibly can see. And we also have to recognize that it's not always about wins and losses during the regular season. It's about that growth. And that's part of our coaching staff's job. But to pinpoint any one game, I mean, you could probably come out to any of our games and they're going to be good games. Like, being completely honest, I can't think of a team on our schedule who I don't believe is going to have a winning record. And I don't know that I could have said that in the past.
You've been doing this for a while, Coach. You've seen so many teams. You've been an influence on countless young men. How do you define success at this stage of your career, and has it changed from when you first started?
It's definitely changed. When you first start, all you care about is wins and losses. You can always say that, it's not just about wins and losses. But when you first start, you're young, and I was 20 years old when I started. So we're going like 27 years of coaching. You always say success is like you want to be the best. And that doesn't change. But the reality is that at the end of the season, there's only one team left winning, and someone is always losing. And so success for me over the years has changed because, one, I've got to see the relationships that I've built with past players, and watch them grow and mature, and then actually have them reach out and say, I just want to say thank you for what you've done for me, and want to let you know what you meant for me. And those things, I think that's kind of, as you get older, you value those things a little bit more, and you realize that wins and losses are great, cutting down nets and trophies are great, but we really, I believe that the measure of success is seeing growth in them, not only on the court, but off the court. And we take a lot of value in that. And I could say that this group this year, we took them, we've been going 4 weeks, and we have been having study table for 4 straight weeks, and they have knocked it out of the park. Their grades are all going up. And those are kind of things that maybe are a little bit more important to me at this point in time in my career than just winning and being the best. While I want to do that, I also recognize in order for us to win and be the best on the court, those little things matter, and they add up. And after the season and after the ball stops bouncing for these guys, it means so much more. So the measure of success for me is growth as a human being. Obviously, we want to win, but over 27 years, the things that I value the most are those conversations that I have with kids after the fact. Whether it's I just happen to see them, or they reach out or send me a text and say, hey, just wanted to check in on you, see how you're doing, and let you know I really appreciate you. I don't know how else. There's nothing greater than getting those texts or phone calls.
Coach, I've been asking a lot of coaches no, you're all fine. You're all fine. I've been asking a lot of coaches this question too. And it's kind of also, I feel like just for me as well, because since I started dipping my toe into coaching with my daughter's teams and such like that, it's really kind of, maybe it's just because I'm a young coach, but maybe I feel that I'm always, doing that little bit of self-doubt, second guessing myself a little bit. Just, all right, am I taking the right approach? Am I teaching the right things? Am I going about this the right way? Do you still have those feelings? How do you combat those? I know you want to do everything with confidence though. But I feel like just for me, sometimes just that in that subconscious always.
I think that's what makes people good coaches. I don't shy away from that. Like I doubt everything, and I think having doubt means that you care, and it means that you're putting a lot of time and effort in. So I would tell people if when it comes to coaching, teaching, whatever it is, if you have doubts, it means you care. Because you want it to be perfect, but the reality is nothing's going to be perfect. But I would say like I don't push those doubts away. I want to be confident? Yeah, I know I've been doing it a long time, but I would tell you like every single game, there's something that I've done that was probably really stupid. But having doubt is a good thing because it means it matters to you. And it means you're willing to put time and be reflective in your actions. So if you have doubts, if you're a young coach and you are doubting everything you're doing something right because that means you care. So I think you're on the right path at that point in time.
You want to talk about just people around you too. I feel like they also help alleviate doubts. The assistants you surround yourself with, and then the people you could kind of talk to in your personal life. Who are those people too? Shout out your assistants. Shout out those other people too that are close to you that really help you get through the grind of a season too.
Well, obviously the coaching staff's really important. I've had Dave Smith and Zach Tasker with me for a long time, and they kind of know me well enough that when I get in some bad spots or bad headspaces, they kind of reinforce the fact that we've been doing things the right way. But we also like we throw ideas back and forth, and we'll yell at each other because we care, and we try and come up with the best solution based on who we are and how we've always done things. So we have a really positive relationship in regards to that, where we can have honest conversations. And they also, they redirect me if I lose focus, and same with them. If they lose focus, I try and redirect them. And I think we do a good job of that. At the junior high level, Donnie Seminara, who I've been blessed to coach both his sons. But he's been at our junior high level. And we also have Thomas Vallant, who I got to coach when he was a really young kid in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and watch him grow into an amazing football player and go on and do great things in the community. And like I value him. I've already told him, he just started this week, but as far as character and integrity, that guy is top notch. And if I have questions about, what I'm doing and if I'm doing it the right way, and I want some serious input in regards to that, I have Thomas to turn to. My wife, obviously, she's probably my biggest supporter. She's the one who, when I have the most doubts, she will always let me know that I've done a pretty good job and that my heart is in the right place. And that's the things that really matter. And probably the last one is Stephen Hughes, who was on my staff. He's no longer on staff, but we consider him a part of our staff because we include him in all our coaches meetings and everything. But he just doesn't have the time to be here. But he and I started our head coaching years in the same year. He was at Mineral Ridge, and then he came over here and started coaching. We are very similar. He's also point blank. He's going to tell you how he sees it, how he feels it. But he's also like, there's been some years where there's times where I'm really doubting what we're doing and where we're going and how we can change things. And he just kind of puts it in perspective because he's been with us when we've had, I think, 2019-20, I think we lost 10 straight games. We were 2-11 or 2-10. And he just says, you never lost faith in that team and you knew where they were going to go. And as a staff, we knew where they were going to go. And he kind of reminds me of that every single season because there's going to be bumps in the road. But, I feel while my support staff is small, it's very, I feel blessed because one, we have really good relationships, and two, I trust them with my life.
I like keeping circles strong, small, and fortified too. There's nothing wrong
absolutely.
with that. Nothing wrong with that. Coach, I've been asking a lot of coaches too. I like to get your perspective on this because I feel like every coach has their own flavor of basketball that they enjoy most too. And there's more than one way to get it done. That's why I think this sport's so beautiful. What is it when you kind of think of great basketball? What does your vision of great basketball look like? Has that changed over the years?
I mean, yes and no. One of the things that I always look to is assists. And I like to play fast. I hate defense, but Um, I'd much rather score in the 80s. But sometimes, like you said, you have to adapt and you got to do what's best for your team and putting them in the right situation. But ideal basketball for me is getting out and playing unselfish basketball, getting 4 or 5 guys around, 10 to 15 points a game. And when you do that, it's so fun to watch. You're playing up and down and pressing. I like to play full court, fast, in your face, which means sometimes you're going to give up points, and it's just moving to the. I think it's for life lessons. I think playing that style, and I guess if you're a slow it down type, you could say the same thing. That's probably part of the greatness of the sport is like there's so many, like no matter what your style is or what your belief is, you can kind of translate it to life and how it could be an important part of life and life lessons for you. But for me, the beauty of it, the stuff I like to see is up tempo, fast pace, threes and layups. But when we are really good, we're getting 18 to 20, 25 assists a game. And I just think that's like, to me, I can sit there and just watch it and just kind of smile and be happy.
I feel like the assist is the best play in basketball, in my personal opinion. I love me an assist as well. Charges are pretty good though too. I do like.
Yeah, we don't the defensive stuff. Yeah, no charges are like, again, that's something like it's the perspective of the program and the team and the coach and the individuals. We got some guys this year who want to take charges, and I've never had I'm just like, no. Move out of the way. Let them get the layup. Let's get down the other end of the score. So.
I love it. That's what I love. I love the banter you could get to with just talking basketball. I've taken a lot of your time, Coach. My final question for you, I want to it's a theme question I'm asking all head coaches too, and it goes in beyond what the sport means. What moment made you realize this job was more than just basketball? Moment or time?
I'm probably going to get emotional. My first year coaching here, Antonio McQueen's mom had passed away. We were at a coaches meeting. He called. She had passed away. I went and immediately left, went with his family, spent the time with his family, comforted them. And my dad had stage 4 lung cancer at the time. And he was in Florida. So it happened on a Wednesday. I was going twice a month down to Florida to be with my dad and help him. And it just happened that the following day was my flight to Florida. So I spent the whole night with Antonio and his family. And mind you, I hadn't coached a game yet at Kennedy. And I had disciplined Antonio to the point where he probably didn't like me so much in that regards. But I let him know, I got to go down. I'm going to be with my dad. If you need anything, call me. The other coaches are available. So I go down there Thursday. Saturday morning, Antonio calls me. Just wanted to check in on you. You can't. I mean, that's unbelievable. This kid lost his mom. I'm in Florida. Everybody should be worried about him. He was worried about me. That's the game of basketball. That's coaching. That's sports. That's why it has so much value. And that's why we do it. And I'm still close to Antonio to this day, and I love him to death. And I think a lot of the guys that I've coached through the years would do the same thing. That's why we do it.
You're more than just coaches on the court, man. You guys are life coaches. You guys bring so much more to the communities and so much more to young men and young women in this coaching realm too. And just thank you too for what you guys do. And I don't think you guys get nearly enough respect for what you do in fostering really the next generation of great young men and women too. So thank you, Coach. And thank you for the time you've taken out of your busy day and your busy schedule to chat a little bit of hoops with me. I always like talking basketball with you, man. And I'm really excited for this season. I think a lot of your guys, we're going to get to know some new names. I think some guys are going to step up and
yes, sir.
Fill some roles too. But I have little doubt that you guys are going to make a good run too and have some success over there with you at the helm, man. Best of luck this season. We'll be seeing you out there.
Thank you, Ty. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for what YSN does for us. I really enjoy you guys, and our kids cannot say enough about what you do for the community, and not just at Kennedy, but everywhere else. Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving, and look forward to talking to you again and seeing you in the future.
Same to you, Coach.
All right.